Hey, Mosenen, Anakwai, va former fati never. Hey, oh no, Seseko Oru Julius Ago, ne madame, to the floor. Abeno, hey, I think that's something. Ya come make it to you. Ya venga me senyu gari ayibiri te wale o. Senyu gari ayibiri ke wale. Ameno, Mosene. Erete to sonne, ya come ke toyo, ya venga me senyu gari ayibiri ke wale. Erete mamane, ya no me ke venga yo, ya venga me senyu gari ayibiri ke wale. Okay, c'est Biya of Chicago, ne madame, to the floor. Everybody. Mucha bareki ne pamna. Abeno, me bebere ye kan kamne na manga puwa mere. Bareki ne pamna e na nyina puwa mere. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Dr. Esim Daniel Nengorei to the floor. Everybody. Mosene. Bareki ne pamna e na manga puwa mere. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Dr. Ebanebai, ne madame. Everybody to the floor. Hey! Joachim Mare, Montagbare, I invite you and madame to the floor. The wise King Solomon. Mr. Ayoba Tobi and Toronto. Tchiroma, megaro beti betava. Eswa. Etaya mona kola timebe. Omonda bakela timanoe. Obomara garanga Tchiroma, megaro beti betava. Megaro beti Give me one clap. Barakadaina, Barakadaina, Daina, 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 Daina. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Another clap again. Cha, cha, cha. Barakadaina, Barakadaina, Daina, 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 Daina. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Ay, mama, 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 Chancellor Alamatu, comfortable. Ne madame pour des plombs. Oh no! Babelo! Ay, mama, oh, ay, mama, ay, mama, ay, mama, Baraka, ay, mama, ay, mama, Wombe, 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 ay, mama, ay, mama, ay, mama, ay, mama, Semben bakwa Kenyang. Mosenen anakwai va forma fati de bonne. Hey! Oh no! Seseko Oru Julius Ago, ne madame, to the floor. Abeno! Hey, I think that's something. Ya come make it come yo. Ya venga me senyu gari ayi biri te were o. Hey, mama ne. Ya come make it come yo. Ya venga me senyu gari ayi biri te were. Abeno! Mosene. Hey, I think that's something. Ya come make it come yo. Ya venga me senyu gari ayi biri te were. Mama ne, ya venga me kevin yo, ya venga me senyu gari ayi te were o. Gari ayi te were. Gari ayi te were. Eswa. Chino Chadeo. Okay, c'est ce qu'on beat up of Chicago. Ne madame, to the floor. Everybody. Mucha bareki ne pamna. Pamelo, me bare ye kan kamna na manga puwa mere. Bareki ne pamna e na nyina puwa mere. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Dr. Esim Daniel Nengorei to the floor. Everybody. Mosene. Bareki ne pamna e na manga puwa mere. Ay mama, ay mama, ay mama. Mago, Dr. Ebanebai, ne madam. Everybody to the floor. Hey! Joachi Mare, Montai Barre, I invite you and madam to the floor. The wise King Solomon. Mr. Ayoba Tobi and Toronto. Tchiroma, megaro beti betava betava, eswa. Ete ya mona toya timebe, omonda batera timanoe. Obomara garanga Tchiroma, megaro beti betava betava.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening and welcome to News Talk with yours truly, Chris Anu, coming to you from the great state of Texas, Houston, Texas. As usual, it's a privilege to be back here to bring you developments on what is happening in La République du Cameroon precisely today. So, welcome, and if you are joining by way of YouTube, go ahead and hit that notification bell and the subscribe button so that every moment we are alive, if you are one of the first to receive notifications from us. Tonight, we're going to be answering the question, when will Paul Biya leave? When does Paul Biya leave? And what happens? What happens to La République du Cameroon after Biya is gone? That will be the subject of discussion tonight. And of course, I won't forget to take your calls after my panel has done justice to the subject. Please stay put and do not touch your remote.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before. Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
Our next session begins July 24th. Seating is limited.
To enroll, text AI to 346-271-0711 or visit certifiedaiacademy.com.
All right, once more, thank you for tuning in, ladies and gentlemen. I'd like to welcome all of you who are joining the broadcast from across Africa, but most especially to where we refer to as the Federal Republic of Ambazonia and all of neighboring La République du Cameroon. If you are joining from the continental USA, I'd like to welcome you too. And if you are joining in from Europe, thank you. I won't forget South America. Thank you for being part of the broadcast tonight. Again, I will be taking you to a one subject show tonight where we discuss what happens when Biya leaves Cameroon. Because, ladies and gentlemen, what we are seeing in the horizon isn't going to be easy in La République du Cameroon. The exit of Paul Biya from office doesn't resolve the many troubles, the many conflicts in that country. And that is what we're going to be discussing tonight. I will be joined by Comrade Dennis Atem, Namata Itwa, and Michael Taki. We will be discussing these subjects tonight. And of course, before the end of the show, I will be opening the phone lines to take your calls. But for the moment, ladies and gentlemen, I would like to take you into my monologue for tonight before I bring my panel to do justice on the subject. Cameroon, a country trapped between an ending and a beginning. A country trapped between an ending and a beginning. I believe that you all understand what exactly that means. The end being the end of Paul Biya, of course, and the beginning being the beginning of a new dispensation. There was a time when the political conversation in Cameroon revolved around what President Paul Biya would do next, what reforms would come, what policies would be introduced, what appointments would be made, what future vision would be unveiled. Today, however, that conversation has fundamentally changed. The question no longer being whispered in political circles, business boardrooms, and diplomatic lounges is what Paul Biya will do for Cameroon. The question is, when? When will he leave? 8 months into a new 7-year mandate, the expectations that accompanied his highly controversial re-election have largely evaporated. The promised political reforms have not arrived. The long-anticipated cabinet reshuffle has not happened. The appointment of a vice president, perhaps the most consequential constitutional power handed to Paul Biya under the revised framework, remains suspended in uncertainty. The transition everyone senses is coming has not begun, yet neither has it been postponed. Cameroon finds itself trapped between an ending and a beginning. And that is what makes the present moment so fascinating and so dangerous. Across the country, political actors are no longer positioning themselves for the Biya era. They are positioning themselves for the post-Biya era. Within the ruling establishment, camps are quietly emerging. Alliances are being formed. Calculations are being made. Old rivalries are resurfacing. The question is no longer whether there will be a transfer of power, but what shape that transfer will take and who will emerge from it with the upper hand. The opposition is equally consumed by the same question. Issa Tchiroma Bakari remains one of the most intriguing figures in the unfolding drama in Cameroon. From exile, he continues to insist that he is returning home. Yet each passing month raises more questions than answers. Curiously, in a recent speech delivered on May 28, addressed to the Cameroonian people, Issa Tchiroma referred to Paul Biya as president more than half a dozen times. For a man who insists that Mr. Biya lacks legitimacy, the language surprised many observers. Yet Issa Tchiroma retains a loyal following. There are Cameroonians who continue to believe that the mandate belongs to him. There are those who see him as the man capable of leading a transition in that country. There are others who believe he represents the only credible alternative capable of uniting a fragmented country. And so, around him, civil society formations are beginning to crystallize, especially in the diaspora. The Council for the Sovereignty of Cameroon, among others, envisions a future in which Issa Tchiroma occupies the presidency. They also advocate a federal system for Cameroon. What form that federalism would take, however, remains a matter of debate. But the fact that federalism itself has returned to the center of political discourse reveals how profoundly the national conversation is changing. Perhaps nowhere is that change more evident than in the debate over the vice presidency. What might have appeared to be a technical constitutional adjustment has become one of the most divisive political questions in La République du Cameroon. Most political actors have reluctantly accepted the new office, and they are saying, let's move on with it. But the real battle concerns who should occupy it. Should it go to the north, the south, the west, the east, the grass fields, the coastal regions, or should it be reserved for the Anglophone regions as part of a broader effort to address long-standing grievances? The arguments are no longer merely constitutional. They are historical, regional, ethnic, and political. And hovering above all of them is the unresolved question of the southern Cameroon's Ambazonia conflict. For nearly a decade, the conflict has remained the most significant challenge to the Cameroon's national cohesion. It continues to shape political calculations, influence constitutional debates, and complicate every conversation about succession and so-called national unity. This is why the country finds itself at a crossroads. Different groups are proposing different futures. Some want continuity, some want managed reform, Some want federalism. The Southern Cameroons wants total independence. Others in La République du Cameroon want a stronger central state. Some seek constitutional adjustments. Others seek a complete restructuring of the national project. But beneath all these competing visions lies one unavoidable reality. Cameroon cannot simply become Cameroon again when Biya leaves office. The problems confronting the country are deeper. Questions of governance, talking of representation, questions of decentralization, national identity, economic opportunity, constitutional balance, and the relationship between the state and its citizens will not disappear with a change of faces at the top. The real challenge facing Cameroon is not merely the transfer of power. It is the transfer from one political era to another. The country that emerges from this crossroads when after Biya is gone will be determined not by who succeeds Paul Biya alone, but by whether the underlying disputes that have divided Cameroonians for decades are finally confronted with honesty, courage, and political imagination. That is the question hanging over Cameroon today. Not who comes next, but what kind of country comes next. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is my monologue for you today. I will now introduce or bring you my guest today. I am being joined from the United Kingdom by Michael Taki, who is the chair of please help me, Mike, help me with a name, CCF, that is Cameroon Federalist something, please.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Anu. It's a pleasure being here, and I want to say hello to all your viewers today. My name is Michael Takie. I am the chairperson of the Coalition of Cameroon Federalist Groups and Activists, CCFGA. We are a federalist group that started about a couple of years, I would say minimum of 4 years ago. We have been working hard towards a federal Cameroon, one Cameroon, but in a federal system. And since then, we worked for the transition into what we find ourselves today, where we worked on the electoral processes. We brought people together to participate in the last presidential elections. We sponsored groups, we sponsored pressure groups back home, political parties, to come together and get involved in their civic duty. So right up to then, today we are talking about the Council for the Sovereignty of Cameroon, which is also was co-founded as I was co-founder, and the main reason for this council is to restore the truth of the ballot box. Chris, I think it's very important. You have made quite clear in your monologue, you've kind of, I would say, detailedly touched a lot of aspects that are happening in our country today. But whatever we are saying here today, let's not forget this. At the center of it, Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakari won the October 12, 2025 presidential elections. He won this election quite, with a landmark or landslide victory. Even though today he finds himself in the Gambia, it's not something that he would have wished. Under normal circumstances, if Cameroon were a country that respects the rule of law and constitutional democracy, I don't think we would be here today. We would have gone very far away 8 months after the presidential election. We would have gone very far away with the reforms that Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakari promised the people. And unfortunately, we find ourselves where we are today. So, Cameroon as it is, and Cameroonians should never forget, the country is in a state of suspension, I would say, which is quite evident by the fact that nothing is moving. Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakari won, and his victory is being stolen in present continuous, because we are fighting and we are still going to fight to the last man standing. Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakari won, and he is the president of the Republic of Cameroon. Based on these facts, we are today, the Council for the Sovereignty of Cameroon, calling for Cameroonians to respect this truth and for us to fight for the restoration of the ballot box.
Oh, okay. Go. If I may come back to you, we have our other panelists who will be joining us. But yes, this is your first time on the show here, and you are part of these two organizations, the CSC, the Council for the Sovereignty of Cameroon, and the Federalist Coalition of Cameroon, something like that. Of course, you know, there has been war for almost a decade now. October will make it 10 years. And the war has been about the fate of the southern Cameroons, Ambazonia, from where you come from, like me. And when you come and you are talking about Issa Tchiroma is the president of Cameroon, Issa Tchiroma won the elections in Cameroon, no doubt about that. Nobody has any doubt that Issa Tchiroma won. But many people are disappointed. They don't feel like he has rightly prosecuted the process to their expectations. What do you say to those people? As I mentioned in my monologue, I listened to a recent audio address to the Cameroonian people by Issa Tchiroma on May, I think it was May 18 or I think May 28, in which he constantly referred to Biya as President Paul Biya. President Paul Biya, more than half a dozen times. And I was like, is this guy advocating for Paul Biya or for himself? How do you explain that?
Chris, I think the truth is that Tchiroma won. Now, even if he were referring to Biya in whichever form, or Mr. Biya in whichever form, I don't think that is the point of discussion. It's important to note that at the moment, many Cameroonians, especially those of the CPDM political party, still believe that Mr. Paul Biya is the president of Cameroon. Now, whatever they believe in is different from the facts of the matter. Mr. Tchiroma won, which is why he is where he is today, in fear of his life. He's not there it's not a vacation. He's not on holidays. He went there because his life was in danger, and any Cameroonian who understands how the system works definitely believes that truly his life was in danger. Now, if you are referring to the speech that he made, I think it would depend on the context in which he was making that address. If he was referring to Biya truly as the president of the republic, he wouldn't be where he is. He would be in Cameroon saying that. So as it stands right now, I think the most important thing that is at the center of conversations is not the way or how somebody addresses Biya. The truth is, we all know that Biya did not win. And the evidence is quite clear. He is struggling even to put up a government, and I'm not quite sure if that is going to happen. It's never going to happen, because the true winner is still there in the Gambia, and until he comes back, Cameroon is going to remain in this state of, I would say, quagmire.
So the question becomes the question that almost every one of his supporters is asking, and we've even seen some of them turn against him, like, for example, Calix Beyala, who was a strong advocate for Issa Tchiroma. Personally, of course, I also advocated for him, but there's been lots and lots of disappointment. And I want to believe that those of you who are campaigning or promoting his cause are communing with him. What do you say of those who feel so disappointed that the man is not aggressively pursuing a return or a restoration of a mandate he believes he won?
Yeah, thank you, Chris. I think that's a very important question. But there is something I want to say here. When I say within the very first few months when he went on exile, I think we have had various options. We've had people here that I'm sure you know of who came up with the option of to use a violent process to evict the regime from Ituri. There are various opinions that have come in, but as you understand, Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakare is a peaceful man. He wants a transition that moves from law to law. From where we are today, there is a law, or there is, I would say, democracy, but it's not as perfect. However, it's perfectible. So as it stands right now, he wants to move from something that is not perfect to something that is perfect. And for you to do that, you have to manage things in a way that don't create other problems. Otherwise, he would have taken even the bait of some people who came in and were giving him, a hand through war. So he cautiously said, no, I want to use law to attend to law. So we especially as CSC, we are saying the same thing. People are frustrated. We do understand. We have actually, because we are not part of his transition team. We are just a civil society organization that is like a parliament of Cameroonians, both abroad and in Cameroon. We are here saying we must respect the rule of law. And even with his team, we are telling them that whatever happens, this is where we stand. And we have to be very, very meticulous and cautious in what we want. And we have already, as you may know, as we go on with this conversation, introduced a couple of steps through which we would use to evict the people in Ituri. Now, those who have, I would say, outrightly tabled their frustration, I wouldn't disagree with them. We are all humans. Some people want things to happen with a snap of a finger. Some people want things to happen just overnight. A lot of Cameroonians, and this is one of the things, Chris. Cameroonians want things to happen. They are not really into the process of how things happen. And this is very dangerous for any civilized community. You have to meticulously take time to do things. And so far as you are consistent, if you are consistent with even success doesn't come with some sort of impulsive behaviors or haphazard arrangements. Success comes with a meticulous, thoughtful, strategic plan that is continuously or persistently carried out over time. So what we are saying here is that Cameroonians should not be disappointed. They should not relent because the process is on its way. And we call on them. They have to evict the people who are occupying Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakare's office so that he can come in peacefully. Because the way Cameroon is right now, we don't want chaos more than what we have already in the north and southwest regions. For that one, I think we're gonna talk about that at some point. But as it is at the moment, we have 8 other regions in Cameroon. The problems we have in Cameroon are humongous. The state of Cameroon for the past 40 years and counting has basically been using resources to the ground. They're running the country to the ground, up to a point where there is no major replenishment. Imagine like even your body. If you're an athlete and then you continuously work out your body, you are running without taking the necessary supplement, you will break down. That is exactly how Cameroon has been run by the Biya regime. And which is why on the 12th of October last year, Cameroonians, after having understood all what has been happening in the country for the past 40 years, they chose Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakare, not any other political party. And if you notice, most people who voted for Mr. Tchiroma Bakare are not necessarily from the FSNC. These are Cameroonians whom anyone can never fault. Imagine all Cameroonians thinking the same way to choose a single person, regardless of which political party they came from. They decided to choose Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakare to say this is a person who they believe will make the necessary transition in Cameroon. And even during his speeches or campaign, he made it quite clearly that he is going to come in and bring all Cameroonians together, regardless of which political party you belong, which religion, which area, which region of Cameroon you come from, whatever, he will bring you to the table. It is not going to be via some instructions, some high instructions, but direct human conversation, so that we see how the whole country can be overhauled. The whole country, I think, will start from zero again, because as it is right now, there's no way putting, I would say an old wine, a new wine onto an old wine. It's a matter of completely emptying the jar and cleaning it up before putting in a new wine. That is exactly what Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakare promised. And the people agree with him, which is why he won by such a landslide.
However, you will agree with me that after all these 10 years of fighting, apparently Mr. Tchiroma may never become the president of Cameroon. However, many of you who are fighting for him to take over fail to see that, and you still believe that Cameroon has a place, has a space for English, for Southern Cameroonians to belong. How can you even imagine that for 10 years of war, where thousands have been killed, we were told at a point in time by United Nations statistics that there were close to a million internally, as I call it, displaced. How come you guys still see a place for the Southern Cameroons in La République du Cameroon, in spite of all this?
Chris, thank you very much. I think, let me take you back. Personally, I'm sure you would know me. In 2016, when this trouble started, the teachers and the lawyers came out and advocated for their rights, for the people. Now, this has been something that has been boiling in the system for the past, I would say, since 1961. Oh, now let me make it fair. 72. Now, in 2017, I became in the UK here the chairperson of West Cameroon Movement for Change, which is an activist group in the UK here, one of the largest activist groups that actually organized a lot of activities to advocate for what the consortium, which was then chaired by Agbobala, was advocating for. So we were in support of the consortium because we saw something that was meticulously organized, strategically planned. So this organization that I chair, we carried out a lot of activities, including even the famous Honorable Weber, who I think he should be somewhere in Europe running for his life. I visited him in Nigeria about twice, sponsored partly by the West Cameroon Movement for Change, because we were supporting a project that we knew that finally, after how many years, the former Southern Cameroon's project or question is on the table to be discussed. Many Cameroonians in their, I would say many former Southern Cameroonians in their 40s, 50s today are who are in the diaspora. There is none of them who will not tell you something about why they are in Europe, in Americas, or whichever part of the world that is related to the North and Southwest regions and the political calculations that are being put in, that were put in place by the various regimes that from Ayijo. So I have been at the center of this. However, when things changed to violence, I and my team and the members of West Cameroon Movement for Change, we said no. We think violence is not going to help this, because once violence come in, you wouldn't be able to, for example, when you have weapons in a society, it's very easy, but you cannot get these weapons back for whatever reason. Even if the weapons are for a good reason, they are going to be used for the wrong reason. So we were strongly, and we keep strongly advocating for a peaceful resolution to the problem. And especially, what we also realized was that the regime is a very violent regime, and it's a government. And statistics have shown that there is no, I would say, there is no group in a country that can violently defeat a government. They can plunder the country in chaos, but to use weapons and defeat a government in quote legitimate is very impossible. However, if the people are organized for a civil unrest, just 1% of them, of a population, can defeat even the strongest government in power. So those are facts.
But hold on, I think you are contradicting your own analogy there, because you will agree with me that several times Cameroonians rose up, challenged the regime, people were picked up, locked up. In the moment that happened, people vanished. Talking about the southern Cameroon's conflict, how much more do you expect them to rise up, take to the streets? You talked about the teachers and the lawyers and the consortium. That is exactly what they did, and the regime in Yaoundé did not move. So, what kind of demonstration are you talking, an uprising are you talking about that will move the regime?
They can, Chris, they can.
Exactly, explain.
No, they can. Now, this is going to lead us to where we are today with the Tchiroma campaign, or the truth of the ballot box. We at West Cameroon Movement for Change, we had a couple of meetings, which part of the meetings were, how do we organize ourselves in such a way that we defeat or we achieve what we are asking the government to do for us non-violently. As you know, there are always people who think the highway is the only way. Once you get into that trap, because I call it a trap, you cannot have a part of the country advocating for whatever they want in a violent manner and defeat a government in power. I know you just mentioned that I'm contradicting myself. No, I'm not. I'm just saying we had peaceful demonstrations during the early 2016, but they were not as effective by 2017. People remember when they started with ghost towns. You can remember how effective these were. Until things moved to violence, most of the people who were leading this organization or leading the whole Anglophone question started falling apart, and the whole system moved from one form to the other. And when things happen like that, people are not strategically together anymore.
If I may ask you then, how come that you in the Federalist column have failed to initiate any of such uprising you are talking about? I mean, who are you expecting to initiate it?
Yes, Chris, thank you. This is the thing. Remember when I was talking before, I did mention, I said Cameroonians. You can have the best idea, Chris. You can have the best idea in the world, and you present it to the people. It's left for them to look into what we are talking about and see how strategic what you are saying works. And I can assure you there is a lot of evidence out there, even though I don't have that, in front of me. There's a lot of evidence out there that just 1% of a population of a country can bring down even the strongest government. All right, 1 to 3%.
But then you guys are not leading the way. You are here. You are here speaking on behalf of Tchiroma. When you won the election, people expected him to get the whole country to rise up and overthrow the regime. There was no leadership from him. It comes to Ambazonia, you say, hey, violence is not good, and you are correct. Nobody won violence until you really have no other option. In the case of Ambazonia, but you guys are not, you talk the talk and you don't dance the dance.
Yes, you may say so, Chris. You may say so. But like I said, every good idea doesn't come with, it's not everybody that comes on with a good idea. But it is left for people that are supposed to effect this idea into action to pick this idea up. And what I'm also saying here, it's the responsibility of Cameroonians. They mentioned in the case of Tchiroma, I've heard people say, oh, he's run away. He's not in Cameroon. He wants us to, he's only talking from abroad. He wants us to go and face the military. No. The people have to understand that for us, like I'm saying here, for us to make a big change in Cameroon, because this very discussion about the people of Cameroon taking actions, you're gonna have me here again talking about it. The reason is simply because, as Cameroon is now, right now, we cannot afford a violence in the whole of the country. We have in the north, Boko Haram are tearing the places apart. We have in the north and southwest regions.
The only language that Cameroon understands at this moment is that of action. If you call it violence, that is okay. Besides that, what is your plan? You had an election in October. Your candidate was won the election. We all agree, but they confiscated it. He couldn't gather. He couldn't gather people to rise up and defend it. And then you keep saying, "Oh, violence is not a solution. Violence is not a solution." Again, I'm looking for a prescription from you.
Yes. Now, let me tell you one thing that we are doing right now as we speak.
Okay.
Tomorrow is Saturday. The Council for the Sovereignty of Cameroon, for a couple of weeks now, has called for a casserole concert that is going to transit to something we call a lamentation. Now,
you mean the jingling of pot covers and the bells around the place, as I learned?
Yeah, you may call it jingling, but what we are saying is that the casserole concert is another meticulous and calculated plan. Now, the reason is because we want to make the people, we want to give the people this confidence and prepare them for something that is bigger and that is coming. We cannot continue to leave Cameroon. By the way, let me make this.
I would like you to be a little bit elaborate on what plan, on the plan you are talking about.
Well, the casserole concert, the plan is that every single Cameroonian on Saturday, between 8 and 5 minutes past 8, should use any utensil that they have. It could be plates, it could be spoons, it could be pots. They play the music in commemoration.
That is like Ali Bongo. That is like Ali Bongo saying, "Make some noise, right?
Well, it may sound that way, but this one is well planned. We've given 5 minutes for this to happen, and once we know that this is spread over the whole country, the idea behind it is very significant, Chris. Cameroonians have been traumatized, not only by the events of the past elections. The whole of Cameroon right now, even the smallest child of about 3 to 5 years understands violence. Chris, this is not the way you run a country, is it?
Yeah.
Most of these children, they learn this from where? From the regime, from the government in power. So they are growing up traumatized, they are growing up scared, they are growing up even abandoning themselves, who they are, just because they want to fit in the country. That is not the way you run a country. We are calling on, we are bringing in this casserole concert.
So how does stepping out every Friday morning or evening and jingling bells change a regime?
It doesn't change a regime, Chris. It's just part of the package. It's part of the package. once the whole of the country is sensitized by this, we will unveil another step. Chris, I can guarantee you we have a lot of things that I may not want to unveil to you, but none of them is violence. However, they are very strategic. So we call on Cameroonians, we say, let us start by trying to instill some level of confidence in you that this is your fight. It's not Tchiroma's. Even if Tchiroma were not there, we will not say, you just stay. It's not really about Tchiroma, Chris. This is about the truth of the ballot box. You cannot run a country. There must be a point where people say enough is enough. You cannot keep running a country on lies. These guys are caught hands down right now. The evidence is there. 8 months after, they cannot form a government. They cannot move forward. They cannot move back. They are stuck. But the only, yes.
All right. Finish your thought, please. Finish your thought.
Yeah, the only person who has the mandate of the people to make a move, a big one, not just a move, is Issa Tchiroma Bakari. He
All
has
right.
from the
Let's hear what.
Yes.
Let's hear what is in the mind of Dennis Atem and Namata Etua. Dennis, let me bring you in here. So if you can lift your camera, get good.
Okay.
Centralize yourself, please. All right.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah.
So Dennis, you listen to all these prescription coming from Michael on resolving the conflict and the many problems in Cameroon. I stated in my monologue that after Biya is gone, it is not enough to say that the problems are solved, the problem is over, because after Biya is gone, it has to be the whole architecture of that country has to be relaid. That is, whether the Southern Cameroons is included or not. Am I wrong here?
Thank you, Chris, for inviting me to this show. I think your monologue was very good. I've listened to what our brother has said. You posed a question. First of all, I don't know if when you asked when Biya will leave. Now, I don't know whether anybody wants him to leave. I don't want him to leave at all. Let him leave and see Ambazonia become free, become independent. You know what suffered in the hands of this individual you call Paul Biya. Imagine that almost 10 years today, we have been fighting violence that was not introduced by us, because since 1961 until 2017, Ambazonia, the people of Southern Cameroon never threw a stone on any roof, never threw a stone on anybody. They believed by mistake that they could religiously pursue their decolonization through legal and peaceful means. But we were dealing with savages, with people with the most backward and archaic minds who do not understand what you call dialogue, who don't understand what you call freedom. They decided to take up, to declare war against us, and so the war began. Our brother was talking, they don't like violence, but he should ask himself, who introduced the violence? Who introduced the violence? It is not us who introduced the violence. It is La République du Cameroon who introduced the violence. We were never, in fact, if he remembers, our motto was the force of argument and not the argument of force. And that is what we pursued until 2017, when these savages decided to declare war on us. So I don't know whether how long this fellow will remain, but I wish he remained there, and even they should dig up his body to come and to worship it. Yes, but whatever happens, he will die and go, and Ambazonia will be free. That is all I can say. Our brother has been talking of federation and this and that. I don't know. I wish they started by going to the records and finding the instruments that give La République du Cameroun jurisdiction over Ambazonia. If they had found it, I would be very pleased if he can publish those instruments so that the world can see. Otherwise, he's just deluding himself believing that a neighbor can come and take over your own house, and you say to yourself, I just want to be a slave, come and take over my house and rule it for me, and you're talking of federation and so on. It is very painful indeed. I know that some people are such that there's no way you can reform them. They can never think straight. But this is a painful situation where your own people are colonized, they are suppressed, they cannot celebrate their independence, they cannot meet in their territory, they cannot form political parties to educate themselves, as you see in Quebec and other places. There is nothing they can do. They have absolutely no right. And somebody is there worshipping the people who are doing it. It is very sad. It is very, very sad. It is very, very sad because we have not stood up because we believe in violence. No, we are the most peaceful people you can find on earth. We are the most peaceful people you can find on earth. But the archaic regime we are dealing with, the savages we are dealing with, decided to declare war on us. And the war is on. Thankfully, the youth of Southern Cameroon will not put down their arms until we reach Biya. That is the position. They will not put down their arms until we reach Biya. So let us be clear about this. Let the federalists do what they like. Let them tell us how they intend to manage a situation where they cannot put any documents on the table showing that La République du Cameroon has jurisdiction over Ambazonia. I don't know. They should just cross over and live there. Rather than come and join the people of Southern Cameroon and begin to say they are federalists and so on. No. That is out of place. That is out of place. That is out of place. Because this matter is very clear and strict, we want to begin from the foundation. That is to say, let the instruments which La République is claiming gives its jurisdiction over Ambazonia be placed on the table. We will know at that point that, okay, they have claimed that these instruments give them jurisdiction. At that point, we can discuss. But without that, there's no point to begin discussion with about federation. No, there's no point. And then he is talking about peaceful change. And, this is not the first time they are stealing elections. I remember Frundi, they stole elections from Frundi. And Frundi wasted his time until finally he had died without succeeding in anything. So he thinks that Tchiroma will come and be different. No, it will not be different. It will go exactly the same way the Frundi situation left. So let us be very practical with these issues. When you are talking of violence, we cannot overcome this regime. Let our brother look back in history. Human history has shown that all dictators are overthrown only by violence. Start from the United States. The United States got its independence only by violence. Go to Europe. France got its freedom only by violence. Come to Africa. Africa got its independence only by violence. So I don't know what kind of violence our brother is talking about. If he knows human history, he will go back and see that there is no other way to overthrow dictators and impostors than through violence. No, because you cannot negotiate with them. That's the reality. Can you negotiate with Biya? Let him tell us how he intends to negotiate with Biya. Or he thinks that if Biya is dead today, the next person will become more tolerable. I don't know. Let him tell us the instances in history where people have negotiated successfully with dictators to overthrow them. Let him give us examples. Because this is an absurdity, really.
All right. Let me get to, before I get back to Mike to have a response on that, let me get to Mr. Etoe, Namata Etoe, who happens to be the son of a former justice minister in those days, Benjamin Etoe. It's a popular name, most especially among southern Cameroonians. Mr. Etoe, there have been the talk of the vice president coming from the southern Cameroons. And that is tied into this federalism stuff that we hear, the narrative that we hear out there. Recently, I think a francophone, I think she is a filmmaker, Calix Biyaba, if I got the name right, put out a list of people suggesting people that she thought should be prime minister, vice president. I also understand you put out a list. Can you remind us who you put out as potential vice presidents of Cameroon, Mr. Etoe?
Thank you. Thank you so much, Comrade Chris, for this session of your show. Thank you very much. And I want to thank also the panel, Mr. Eric, from from home, and also thanking our chairman, Michael Taki of the Federation Group, which I belong to. Yes, but first of all, I would like to comment on something which you put in your monologue before I respond to your concerns. Like when you say that the president-elect addresses Paul Biya as president, and you kind of think it's like not a good position. My perspective is that he just thinks, I just want to think that he's just addressing him because whether he's out of power or in power, he remains president. So that's just why he addresses me as president. So we should not put some implications into that, because that's just what he should call him. He can call him Mr. Biya, he can call him President Biya, but I don't find anything wrong with that because it's just a title.
I would expect anybody. I would expect anybody to call him President Biya or head of state, but not Issa Tchiroma, who is contesting the elections with him. Right? It doesn't make sense. I mean, anybody, you can, I can, but not somebody who says Biya stole his mandate.
Yes, you're very strong with that perspective. But the point I'm trying to make here is that he is President Biya. Whether he's in power or not in power, he remains President Biya forever. And even when he dies, he will be addressed by the history.
But that makes that's a point.
As President Biya. That's just a historical truth.
That's a point.
Yes, and you sometimes we are caught up in our zones of thinking, where in our zones of thinking we have this thing of either we have to insult. For example, when I give perspectives, I'm a moderate. I listen to different voices, and I'm not against any voice because these are all voices of change. Whether it's the Southern Cameroonians talking about change, that's the voice. Whether it's CCFGA talking about change, that's a voice. Whether it's CSC or which other group, these are all voices. But that should not make us, not show so much disrespect for President Biya, because I would say that he remains President Biya, whether he's not president or he is there. So I'm very okay with the fact that the president-elect addressed him President Biya. But I also understand that he can
on whose side you are, Mr. Itoe? Are you on the side of Tchiroma or side of President Biya?
Actually, I've been listening to the voices, and I understand because when you ask that question, I listen to the voices, and I'm more of a moderate voice. It's been said that President Tchiroma, the president-elect, won.
When you say you are more of a moderate voice, what are you referring to? Is Biya between Paul Biya and Tchiroma? Is there any extremists among them?
Actually, the thing is, when I say I'm a moderate voice, for example, who's the president in charge of Cameroon now, as we speak, is His Excellency Paul Biya. That's just a fact, And whether he got there by some game or political game or whatever, please try to remember that the person who's ruling the country that you live in is a felon. Donald Trump is on several counts of felony. He's not supposed to be there. But that's the person you call the president, and everyone answers to him. He's in charge, So we cannot be, when these realities are in front of us, we just can't discard them. That's my concern. So when you ask the question that, am I for Issa Tchiroma, or I'm for President Paul Biya, I'm flowing with the political game. So I would say to you, I'm pro-Tchiroma, I'm pro-Biya.
Who did you vote?
I didn't vote anyway because I didn't have the opportunity.
Oh, you live in Norway anyway. All right.
I live in Oslo. I live in Oslo, Norway. So I did not vote. But then too, I just think that I understand, that Tchiroma has a plan in its agenda to give federation to the Nozo region, to the entire Cameroon rather. And, people are attracted to that, especially those from the English-speaking side of Cameroon. So they're attracted to that. But then in the political game, it's not been really easy, especially like you say, he's out of the country, right? And father in Gambia, and his impact is not really felt so much. It's in the shadows. So, and it's not very easy to make all these assessments. But then he has served President Paul Biya, and so you have the other schools of thought thinking within the administration of Paul Biya that he ought to have just stayed with what he's been serving over a long time. And I remember, Comrade Chris, you had heated sessions with Issa Tchiroma, who was so against the Southern Cameroon, the issue, and he was also so against even when.
Well, if you put him and Biya together, it was a lesser evil. I mean, you know that. So when you have two evils, you pick the lesser evil. That was exactly what Tchiroma was.
I wouldn't really say he's a lesser evil because he's, when you serve a regime and you execute for the regime, you are part of that evil of that regime, no matter whether you switch.
Yeah, that is true. But you have only the two options. What do you do?
Yeah, if the options are there that Paul Biya is going away and the person who has to come in is Tchiroma, that's fine.
Paul Biya is going away, somebody is coming in, somebody that he will appoint that neither you nor me has an idea, and the person is not going to be voted by anybody.
Yes, but we don't know. You see, that we are now in a political
that. The Constitution says appoint a vice president and the vice president takes over from you.
Correct, but we are in a political stalemate, and like you noted that, it's not coming. It's not the reshufflement is not coming. The position of vice president is not coming. That's the political stalemate we are in. And there are all these speculations. They have to make a judgment, especially when it comes to who becomes the vice president. The names are out there, close in there, and they have to make an evaluation who. And I don't want to think that President-elect's name is not also there. I don't want to think so. I think his name is also there. They talk about him. I want to think so.
Oh, that's a revelation you are giving us. Issa Tchiroma's name is where? In the short list for vice president or what?
It should be there because when we're talking of, if Issa Tchiroma becomes vice president, then potentially he can be president. And then, potentially. But what I'm saying here is this. Do
you think Tchiroma will accept being vice president?
I think that would be a smarter political move for him to accept, especially if his security is guaranteed. Because I don't see how he can pull it on from where he is without having to collaborate with the person who's there now, and soon, hopefully, will be outgoing.
If he becomes a vice president, and I get the point, however, if he becomes a vice president after Biya's vice president who takes over, he decides to bring in Tchiroma just to end the October 12th contest and makes him vice president. Of what use does Tchiroma become to the country when he cannot effect any change? In fact, he will stay there for the next 7 or 6 years, and when the term is over, they go for elections, he will be kicked out. And he would have been too old, by the way, at that moment. So, what sense does it make for him to take the position of vice president?
I don't agree with that perspective. I don't agree with that perspective of yours. He comes in if he's offered, which I think, or I would appeal to him to accept it, and ask for security guarantees. And if he's offered that, then let him come back and occupy that position. Because the reality is that, which you and I will know, and most Cameroonians know, is that the reason why they've put the position of vice president is a transition into, President Biya's, passing, going away. So I just think that he's the only smart option to accept that. Otherwise, he will remain in that opposition just like Issa or whoever was, and will not be active politically. Because the political game is in Cameroon. It's not in Gambia. It's not anywhere else. It's in Cameroon.
Well, all right. Let me. Yes, go on. Finish your thought.
That's where the battlefield is. Then let me come back to this other perspective. Then, when you said about the president, the vice president, to come back to your question, I want to think that there are other candidates. When I mentioned Issa Tchiroma, it's just like floating the name there because I think they also talk about him. I think so. They talk about other potential people who can be there. But then you see, it's not easy to find the right one to be there because there are different things to consider, especially if, President Paul Biya is having to leave power. He should trust who's the vice president, and he should be sure about his immunity, his security after he leaves power, and the immunity for his family. And that's something, if you were in President Paul Biya's situation, you are going to also think in that way because all of us want some kind of immunity when we leave power. So I think that it's all possible. They floated the name of the president's son. That's on the table, is being considered. The English-speaking region, we have also maintained that it is time for an Anglophone to occupy that position, which is the brightest, I think. But then the political game is complex than we can imagine.
I don't understand what is bright in the making an Anglophone, in your terminology, becoming the vice president of La République du Cameroon.
Yeah, it's bright because you cannot keep staying in rebellion or in a state of violence for too long, like Jonas Savimbi, who stayed UNITA rebel for too long and finally got to nowhere. The thing is, you've got to make yourself active, and that is what we are doing. That is what you are also doing, the activism, making ourselves active and make sure that there is a process that goes on in Cameroon, So for me, I think that should we have an English-speaking Cameroonian coming there as vice president, that's a pathway to becoming president.
And what does becoming president mean?
To become president means
I have made this point again and again that we've had prime ministers upon prime ministers Anglophone, and we still have one at the moment. So what does making an Anglophone the vice president even mean or change?
It will be different because the political
explain to us.
Executive side. Yes, on the executive side, as the politics is, where you have the prime minister, he's not so much like the second in command or the third in command. It's complex. He's not having those like total powers. That's just how the system is. But now with this new reform of vice presidency, please, you should try to recognize the fact that should this thing be given to an English-speaking Cameroonian, that's very strategic because that's a vice president, which means if His Excellency Paul Biya is no more there, he becomes president, and a president cannot be compared to this current prime minister who has very limited powers.
Let me ask you, what happens if Biya appoints his vice president, maybe Ngongo or Frank Biya, and in your calculations, Frank Biya turn around and appoint, let's say, Dion Ngute, or let's say, any of those so-called elite into the position of vice president? Do you think he leaves to become president of Cameroon?
Please, the last part of the question, do I think who leaves to become president of Cameroon?
If Biya, which we know is happening for sure, he is not appointing an Anglophone to be his vice president. Forget about that. It is not happening. But look at this other scenario. if Biya should appoint Ngongo or Frank Biya or any of the elite from his clan to become vice president and to assuage the wrath of some of you from Anglophone, they appoint an Anglophone, maybe Dion Gute, maybe Paul Tassong, maybe, you know all those bootlickers called Anglophones in Yaoundé. They appoint any of them as vice president. You think that person will live to become the president of Cameroon?
Well, Comrade Chris, this is just a scenario you are putting out there.
I know, but
kind of speculative scenario, which I don't think is going to play out in this way, because the thing is, the vice president is going to be somebody younger, I think.
The vice president is
of our
going to be what?
generation. It's going to be someone younger, I think so. However,
does that mean anything?
Definitely, it has. When it's someone who's young, because when you're talking of these other names who are in that political game, there, I just think that this position of vice president, we don't know. We are just speculating.
Right.
We don't know, and you see, there's a stalemate. Why is there that stalemate? Because it is difficult to come up with a total assessment of how to do it. It's difficult. So there's a political stalemate in Yaoundé.
All right, let me get back to Mike to kind of make a response to what Dennis and you have said.
Yes, Chris. Thank you for having me back. I will just start straight with. Let me go to Dennis. Now, Dennis mentioned something about war brought onto us, not us initiating war. I think this is just, I would say, a very tactical statement to make. It's not every war that you engage in. It's not every war that you engage in. Especially, there are certain wars that you have to rethink and perhaps choose a different date for a fight. And this is when you say the Biya regime declared war on us. I think some of us were there. The statement that Biya made was not necessarily the way we responded to it. And even if we had to respond, we should not always be tempted to pick up a bait from somebody else's toolbox. Let us have our own toolbox where we make our plan and stick by them regardless of what, because we know the end game. Now, when the consortium was up to the task of handling these guys, it would have been a matter of, I know they banned the consortium, it would have been a matter of morphing from one stage to the other, but sticking onto the plan, looking at what we want, regardless of any temptation that comes. Because this is how some of these, I would say, wars are fought. There are wars of ideology, and then there are also wars of gun using ammunitions. Had we stayed the way the consortium handled this, even though it happened that they banned the consortium, it would have just been a matter of people moving from one stage to the other. Because if you notice right now, there is no way you can fight a war and then end up living in a war. You only end up looking for a way to seek peace. And that is what we are doing now. After the loss of lives we've lost, plus not only lives, but livelihoods. So even if we are agitating, yes, we have a proper, well-legitimate, documented reason for standing out there and facing the regime and saying enough is enough with this attempted assimilation, marginalization, and all whatnot. But there is no way we would.
Mike, it seems you are suggesting that we jumped up in 2016, 17 and picked up arms against La République du Cameroon.
No, that's not what I'm saying here.
Where would you keep 2000 and 1993, 1994, all the way up to 2016? Because you are saying as if we just jump into this without trying in other ways.
Chris, I am not saying that we jumped into fighting. I am just saying we reacted. We should not be reactionary. This is even at the moment as we speak. There are a lot of things that are going on. I'm sure you know there is talks about AAC3. We are so fragmented in such a way that we wait until something happens, we start reacting. As a people, we are supposed to have our own plan, regardless of what is going on. We stick by this plan, respect the plan, and of course, the plan is not going to be anything violent because we are not a violent people. The North and Southwest regions, the former Southern Cameroonians, have never been the people that you can even say you go to their streets and start looking for who is holding even a razor blade up to 2017. So why should we, instead of picking by who we are and using methods that we are good at to fight somebody who who lives through violence? Because this is what the La Republique are. They are people, they've lived for the past years, even right up to the 2000s. Most voices from the North and Southwest regions have always been silenced through violence. We know that. So why was that a special moment for us? Why was it special that we have to take up arms with a violent regime? Anyway, the point I'm making is this. We, even right up to now we are talking, we are still divided, and arms will not solve our problem. The arms will not solve our problem. Let us accept that and strategically look
we
for
all
another way.
accept that, but the question we have for you is, what is the alternative?
The alternative, at the moment, we are pursuing the route that the ballot box created for us.
Which ballot
Right?
box? Which ballot box? A ballot box when somebody has been in power for 43 years. 43 years, one person, and you are still talking of a ballot box in 2026 for someone who has been in power for 43 years?
Chris,
he should be overthrown. You should be talking about overthrowing him, if possible, by the military, if the civilians cannot do it.
Yes, this is again, like I said, Cameroon has a lot of problems, up and down, and we don't want to descend into any chaos. And we think we are a law-abiding people.
But it's already in chaos.
It's absolute. Yes, it's the chaos that there is right now. It's just, I would say, if something else had to be done to add it, it will be worse than what we are. So what I'm saying is that there is a path that was created after all this time, and that path was which came up as a result of the people exercising their civil right, voting. CCFGA worked very hard for this. And again, I go back to what I told you. I said, we are always waiting for things to happen. We as Cameroonians, we don't want to be the pathfinders. We want to just jump onto the path. CCFGA chose to be a pathfinder. We worked very meticulously to make sure that what happened on 12/10/2025 happened. Imagine if every single Cameroonian were doing the same thing. And like I gave you the statistics, 1 to 3% can put down that country. So that is my response to my brother Dennis. Violence was brought to us, but I don't think we wouldn't have had better options than responding to it. If I come back to the question about the vice presidency and what my brother here, Namata, just said, from where some of us stand, I think we are merely piling up a lot of irregularities on the ones that we already have. The position of vice president should not even have been a matter of discussion right now. Had we followed first things come first, because what Cameroonians are doing, we are just merely waiting for, okay, what are they going to do next? What are they going to do next? What are they going to do next? How can we continue to live our lives as if somebody has a remote control on us? We are Cameroonians. We have the same, we have equal right in that country like everybody else. Mr. Biya lost elections. He shouldn't be talking about vice presidency in the first place. Vice president to be appointed in a country that is so fragmented, in a country that has gone through a lot for 40 years. This is like, it's like adding an old wine, new wine onto an old wine. We have a situation where even the constitution that we have right now is so problematic, which is why for 40 years and counting, the country is facing the same thing. Now, when people went to the poll to vote, they chose someone. Cameroonians, again, some would say, oh, because Tchiroma is not in Cameroon. But Tchiroma did not vote for himself. People voted for him. We keep allowing the regime to control the way we behave. They sat in power instead of the conversation to be focused on, come on, get off. We don't want you anymore. Carry your own reforms that you have, because they don't even have any reforms. This is the thing. Instead, what do? We are blaming the wrong person. We appointed this guy. We chose this guy. They want to kill him. He left the country. Now the people who wanted to kill him also want to completely annihilate the country by introducing reforms that will not make any change. Well, how do you make a reform in the same system? They are even calling, some Anglophones are even happy about it. If you are in that, because as it is right now, it is CPDM, Chris. It is CPDM versus Cameroonians. This is how they play the game. CPDM are not a political party that is, I would say, open to reforms. If they were, they would have picked up this idea of federalism and ran with it. But they are not open to reform. They just want to stick by their own method of, I would say, decentralized unity state. And this is the 21st century we are talking about.
So
some people are standing there.
To your point, if Biya hands over and leave, and the next person takes over, whoever that person is, and say, you know what, it's the same party, the same CPDM. What is going to convince that person to say, let's do federalism?
That is where we stand. We understand that they will never, ever. Chris, we are talking here when the issues in the North and Southwest region broke. There are people before me who tabled the idea of federalism, who tabled some sort of arrangements to fix not only the North and Southwest regions, but the whole country. The regime, Chris, this is a CPDM arrangement. They don't want anything from anywhere or from anyone. They are not interested in fixing Cameroon. Cameroonians should go and sit down and reflect. What have we done wrong to these people? It's not about Cameroonians. It's about themselves, CPDM people. They are not even behaving like a political party, because if you were behaving like a political party, you would pick up political debates. You would borrow ideas from the opposition to make up for checks and balances. But this is not what is going on in Cameroon. Instead, they brought up the idea of vice president, and like you said, Mr. John Butte is there. They brought up the idea of vice president. What are the rules of the vice president? He is appointed by the president. This is the 21st century. You want to appoint a vice president. So when you appoint them, what do? Do they work for you or for the people? This is the question Cameroonians should be asking. If you appoint someone, they should work for you, which means if CPDM or Mr. Biya appoints someone and Biya is not there, the person is going to be doing exactly what Biya wants them to do. The person is going to be doing Biya's work. Even if this person is an Anglophone, they're going to be doing what Biya and the CPDM intends for them. And I do not see how, if they bring any Anglophone on the seat right now as the vice president, I am still very skeptical on what that particular Anglophone, imagine an Anglophone being the vice president, and then you expect them to listen to whom? Is it the president who is a Francophone, or who I would say is Biya, or to the people? If they were to create genuine reforms, they would have said, okay, we've created this post of vice president, people should vote. But Chris, no, they don't want to do that because they know that the game is moving from just moving the furniture in the house, perhaps.
No, let me tell you, they will do that. They will do that. But this is how they will do it. Biya will put one of his close allies there to replace him. And then, you know, when he comes in, there will be the need for him to appoint his own vice president, right? And then he will appoint his own, the clique will say, appoint an Anglophone and remove him after 5 years or after 4 years. You will do that. But let me ask you, let me go back to the question I asked Eto'o about Issa Tchiroma becoming or taking the position of vice president. Is that what you think he is inclined to doing that?
Chris, that is a very tall order. I think if Mr. Tchiroma were to become the vice president of Cameroon, he would have been. Remember, it was offered to him around January.
Correct.
Produced.
No, he was offered some ministerial positions among. I read that he was asked. He was asked to pick 9 cabinet positions for his team.
Yeah. So if he were the vice president, he would have been by then. Not after they've killed all this number of people, imprisoned this number of people, and then you are coming in to be the vice president of what? And let's assume, well, it's completely far away. But under which system? Under which system would you bring anyone and expect them to do anything? CPDM system. If any change that is supposed to be in Cameroon should not be anything related to CPDM. Because for 40-something years now, this is the fruit of CPDM. It's a system. It's not, I would say, it's not a random occurrence. This is something that has been meticulously run. That is something that has been thoroughly organized. It is systematic. It's not like you would say it happened by accident. No. So how do you bring somebody in and you expect them to do what? You just come up, it's a mold. You bring whatever and put in that mold, it stays. It's the same system. If it wasn't the same system, Chris, it would have just been very easy. Either you engage in thorough political debate, borrow some good ideas from wherever, implement them, even if they mean for the party to stand, means some people have to go, you kick them out, refresh the party. CPDM refused till today to make any reform that would take power out of CPDM and give to the people. It's not about Cameroon, it is CPDM. Even if you engage in a conversation with a CPDM, I would say member, whether they are small or they are old, they say the same thing. Their language, the arrogance, the level of condescending, it's the same, because they know that this is their tough, this is their country, and it's just because Cameroonians just think that, let us leave it like that. Let us just wait and see. Let us wait and see.
Mike, according to your analysis there, if the CPDM is a real problem and you don't see them going anytime soon, why do you keep entrusting the fate of the Southern Cameroons into the hands of the CPDM?
We are not entrusting, Chris. What we are saying is that former Southern Cameroonians should understand and pick up a proper political game to run with. And as it stands right now, personally, I'm from the former Southern Cameroons. I had, long time ago, chose the fact that than for me to engage in anything that may not stand the test of time. I want to engage in a political conversation that would keep the ball rolling. I want to engage in something that would put pressure on whoever is there in Yaoundé. And what I'm engaging in, it is something that is legal, something that is democratic, something that is constitutional. And what is that? The fact that we engaged in the political discussion that led to the election of Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakari. Now imagine a situation where all Southern Cameroonians, including myself, were holding our placards up again. We got up again and said, enough is enough. We identify with this guy. Let's bring down the regime. Chris, imagine that. But instead, we are still thinking, it's not me. You are saying that I am relying on the CPD. I am not. Because I know that they are not going to give us anything. We have to make our own position very clear, politically, democratically, constitutionally, based on what we have there, if we want to make any effective change that will last forever. And that would have been what the path that CS is pursuing right now. We need to evict Mr. Biya and his entourage from Itudi. When that happens, we will have a proper conversation with a legitimate president. We would have a roundtable conversation where the issues, he said it, not me, the issues that are plaguing the people of the former Southern Cameroons, regardless of what, he said he would ask them to bring them on board. Whether you want independence or whatever, bring them on board. It's a conversation. But Mr. Biya had never tolerated even the idea of a federal discussion.
Well,
so
let Dennis come in there. We're running out of time. Let Dennis come in there, respond, and then we open the phone lines to see what the people out there are thinking.
But remember,
yes, I will come to you before we go.
Okay.
Yes, go on, Dennis.
There isn't too much to discuss. I ask our brother to provide us the instruments that give La République du Cameroun jurisdiction over the Southern Cameroons, because that is where we begin. If you cannot produce that, we're just talking in the air. He's talking of constitutionality, law, and so on. Which is the law if you cannot begin by putting down the instruments that join the two parties? What are the instruments linking the two parties? Tell us. Because all of these things, you go and we say you're a federalist, you are this, put down the instrument. What are the terms that join the two parties? Where are the signatures of the two parties? Where is the union treaty between the two parties? Don't make a mistake and sign me the constitution, because that constitution was a unilateral document passed and debated in La République du Cameroun and passed in their parliament 1 month before the Southern Cameroons became independent, or before the transition agreement ended. So I want begin from there and explain. Let us understand you. Really.
Mike, Dennis, hold on there. Mike, do you agree that at this moment, given what we've been through for the last 10 years, any sitting on the round table with La République du Cameroun should be between the Southern Cameroons, if you like, you call it West Cameroon as in those days, and La République du Cameroun? I mean, these two parties, not a question, because if you're talking in terms of federation, I will put it this way. Would you guys in the federalist movement put it this way, that going to any table should be former British Southern Cameroons and former French colony of La République du Cameroun?
Thanks, Chris. Now, the coalition of Cameroon federalist groups and activists believe that there is a history to take into context, okay? And then there is, I would say, the contemporary nature by which we have all evolved. Now, when we talk of federalism, which is why we have not, as you know, we've had a lot of questions. We have a little book called the Federalist Handbook that answers quite a lot of questions. Now, a lot of Cameroonians, former Southern Cameroonians, are asking us, are you talking about 2 states or 10 states or whatever state? Mm-hmm. This is a question that, because we are a representation, we do not want to decide on what kind of federation, because we are not the ones to make that decision. But we are saying that there is a point when you see a person from this former Southern Cameroons talking about, some even call it a stolen state. You cannot dispute that, because we know that there are a lot of issues that happened especially after 1972. So we have a lot of problems. We acknowledge that. And we think it is a discussion to be had. And this discussion to be had means experts would sit down and make the argument wherever that we want independence, we want federalism, we want all those things put together. But people would have to come to a point where at one stage the people decide. We cannot decide for the people. And as you know, the attempt of the violence that is going on now, a lot of people were misled. A lot of people got the idea that, oh, you know, we have to shoot or kill somebody to obtain our independence. That was not the whole point about what should have happened. Rather, in CCFGA, we are saying
the people you are referring to that were fooled. No, nobody was fooled because they still believe in what they believe in then. Because for 10 years, La Republique again has not moved. You are hoping, you in your group, you are hoping that La Republique will hand federation to you. And you don't even have the picture of what type of federation you want. So I don't know how you keep on blaming those who are actually fighting against those who are just hoping that it is handed to them when we know it's not going to happen.
No, Chris, we are not hoping that it's handed. What we are doing, we are actively engaged. We are actually involved in making sure that we arrive at a position where we sit with whoever is involved. And when I mean whoever is involved, we're talking about a government. And like I said before, we are tempted.
I asked you the question, if you were asking for federalism and you know that is what existed in the past, would you say to La République du Cameroon, we want the Southern Cameroons and La République du Cameroon to sit down and we discuss this federalism? I mean, for you federalists.
Well, Chris, that is what is definitely going to happen at one point. That is what Tchiroma said. Tchiroma said if he comes to power, he's going to invite us. When he means us, the people of former Southern Cameroons, into a conversation, right? He's not going to do so as Tchiroma himself. He's doing so as a government because he wants to resolve this. He said it. We had, even before during his campaign period, before we actually endorsed him, that is one of the agreements he reached with us. We said, what do you think about federalism? He said it's a perfect way to go
well, he has said many things in the past. You remember he said nobody was killing Biya.
How can we believe these people now? Because Ahijo made that many promises. Ahijo made that many promises. Which one did he ever respect? No. How can we be taking their word for any promises?
I think he has. But the difference this time is that the difference is that even the people of CPDM did not even tolerate that word. All right, so this is a big difference with what Tchiroma was offering.
But he was running a campaign. You could have said anything. Remember, I was his friend up in Bamenda, right?
No, even after winning the elections, he's still saying the same thing. The CPDM ran the same campaign. They never said it. Even till today, the CPDM are claiming to own the power. They will never say it. They have never ever even used the word the letter F in their conversation about the way the country should be run. So it's not like Tchiroma was just trying to stage or looking for campaigning to win elections. No, he said that before, and he's saying that now. And I bet you many of the contestants, the presidential election contestants or candidates, many of them picked up the idea about federalism. And we chose Tchiroma because in addition to federalism, there are many things that there are many promises that he made, which I believe he would have had to meet some of them. Even though we don't trust politicians 100%, but at least that is what you go by if you are dealing with a political process in a country.
Well, let
what if he never features again? What if Tchiroma never features in the picture again? What if Tchiroma never features in the picture again?
He doesn't necessarily need to.
A high possibility.
It's not about Tchiroma.
You are counting on Tchiroma to push the federalist agenda. What if he never features in the picture again?
Yeah,
who
it's
will
not
we turn
necessarily
on?
about Tchiroma. Don't forget, we are still in the political process, right? Cameroon will not stand still if Tchiroma was not there. Even Biya had thought that he'll be how do you call it? He'll become a monument while alive. No, everybody dies, right? Time passes, so Cameroon would not remain the same even if Tchiroma is not there, and Cameroon will not remain the same
All
if
right,
Biya is not there.
let's have Itwe come in and make a point on the things we've discussed, and then we'll open the phone lines. Itwe, please.
Thank you once again, Chris, and thank this sharp panel who are, exploding ideas and all that. Thank you so much. This is what we are, and we are all voices for a better Cameroon. Whether it's the side talking about independence, whether it's the side talking about federation, or the side talking about the Tchiroma and the CCF here, we're all Cameroonians, and we are voices. Because all we want is change for Cameroon, whichever form it comes, But to be like very precise, the right side of history is federation. If we've got to go back to history, it's not about being emotional and citing history in a very wrong way, because independence was actually granted. Although it was not in the perfect kind of way it was done, but it was granted. We accepted it. But our leaders at the time, Foncha and Mona, didn't raise any objection to go back to the United Nations, and then they addressed this if they didn't do that. So everything moved on, and now we are this new generation. We are grappling with this situation, and then see how they were being marginalized in the English-speaking region, which His Excellency Paul Biya himself confirmed that in Paris from his own mouth, that they tried to assimilate us, but but it's not gone rightly. You see, that's a confession of a president who knows that things didn't go right? But it will go right, and federation is what you can back up with historical facts. And when you're talking about also independence, good idea. I think that we're never independent when they talk of granting independence, we're never independent as our own state. We had our own system that was functioning separately, but when it came to independence, we accepted to go this way with French-speaking Cameroon. Over time, we discovered that it's been a bad marriage, and those who were supposed to act for us, they didn't act. So, but the process which is there, which people should be talking about, is that decolonization process was not finished, and those who were to finish it didn't raise their voice. And if a decolonization process comes now, they can come to a referendum to Cameroonians, and we have to talk. What do we want? Do we want to stay with the Southern Cameroon? Do we want to stay with French-speaking Cameroon? Do we want federation? So I think that we should engage in very constructive conversations, but recognize the fact that Mr. Eric has a voice and he has a standpoint, which nobody should say he's very wrong. Comrade Chris Anu, he's been brilliant. All what he's doing is for a better Cameroon and better Southern Cameroon if we can't get a better Cameroon. But then you can see that his goal, and if you look at the way he's expressing his concerns, is to show that he wants something better for Southern Cameroon. His skepticism is there with the other side of Cameroon. But then it is our generation. Paul Biya is facing out. His Excellency Paul Biya, he's facing out. He's not the one to come and actually solve this issue. And then we are going into a transitional phase, transition to a vice president. Transition, let's hope it becomes a better transition. But then the voices of federation will remain, whether with Tchiroma or without Tchiroma, will remain. And the next president of Cameroon, we never really know, will not rule Cameroon in the same way as His Excellency Paul Biya has ruled Cameroon, because when we're talking of Cameroon in those days, we had the CNU under Ahijo, and everybody was wearing this Muslim clothes that you throw over you here. There were no suits actually, and everybody was pro-Ahijo and pro-CNU. But when you're saying that it's only the CPDM, it will not change. I disagree, because once power changes hands and the other person is out, it's gonna be different. So whether it's CPDM that's in charge now, it's gonna be different. If it's anybody, maybe Frank Biya or whosoever is there, once Biya is out, it's going to be different, because it's a different generation. But let's keep expressing our voices in different forms, but with a goal for a better Cameroon and things that will benefit Southern Cameroon.
All right, gentlemen, please hang in there when I come back.
Can I ask my brothers one question before you go?
Sure, go on, please.
Okay, I want to ask the Federalists this question. We had a federation before, and the federal constitution prohibited a change in that federation. But these people abolish it. You are asking them to go back to that federation now. What is your guarantee that they will not do exactly the same as the first federation? If they abolish it, what are you going to do? You just want to accept a situation where someone tramples on you and walks on you as he likes and does everything he likes? Why are you asking for a federation, which they abolished before? And they told you that they accepted to join with you only because they were thinking that they will convert you, they will turn you into the One Cameroon agenda.
Yes, but then too, I think that the actors who will be for the federation will be different. What happened is that the actors who would have maintained the federated system, they didn't perform. Muna didn't perform. Foncha didn't perform. It's you, this generation, that's trying to perform about different things, whether they are asking for independence, or they're asking for. But then, independence is for Southern Cameroon, it's not for Ambazonia. Ambazonia, for me, is a movement. But history says Southern Cameroon. But I recognize the fact that if they talk about Ambazonia, it sounds to me it's a movement, but it's not a country. That's my perspective.
Can I just quickly say something, please?
Briefly, please.
I think if we keep insisting on what they can do or cannot do, it means that we are merely just handing ourselves on a platter and expecting somebody to do something for us. The plan for a federal Cameroon, though, it's not just something. It's not just an idea that doesn't have a background or a base, and it is something that even at the point where, even say for example CPDM, if CPDM had called and said, "Oh, we want to think about this issue of federalism," we would not just go and say, "Oh yeah, take it." It will be a matter of certain conditions being put in place, because we are living a typical example of a shattered federal system that didn't work. And as you know, when you try something the first time it doesn't work, it doesn't mean that you completely abandon it. Sometimes it just needs you to perfect it. And that is why we are still saying that a federal system today in Cameroon that considers our history as the people of former Southern Cameroon will go a long way, not because we're going to hand it to someone, but because we are going to be part of that. We're going to take part of the responsibility of making sure that it works. And like Namata just said, in those days, there are many reasons why it failed. There are many reasons, and we're not going to still remain in history, just live our lives in the past, but we're going to consider the history to make corrections for our future. So this issue, even the independence that you're talking about, if you have to work for it. There is no system that is just there to just be put in place and then you fold your arms and stay. No, you have to work for it. So what we are saying is a federal system would mean that people lay the foundation for it. They put on the safeguards in place and make sure that it works. And it is the people that are going to make sure that it works. It's not anyone who thinks they own the people. It is the people's thing.
All right. All right, gentlemen, please stay put out there. Let's take a brief break out. When we come back, we will turn on the phone lines and get contributions from our viewers. Stay put, please.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before.
Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
Our next session begins July 24th. Seating is limited.
To enroll, text AI to 346-271-0711 or visit certifiedaiacademy.com.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, thanks for staying put out there. At this moment, we open the phone lines for your contributions. Remember, before you call, make sure that the volume of your television set, whatever you are watching on, is tuned down so that there is no delay. The phone line is there on your screen, so go ahead and call, ask any question, any contribution that you can. Now, while I wait for your contributions, let me get back to Mike and ask this question. Mike, tell me, would you, in the Federalist movement, at a referendum as the route to you attending a federal state? But hold on, let's get this caller here first. Hold on. Hello. Hello.
Comrade Chris.
Yes, sir. Who made
good evening.
Good evening. So where are you calling from?
From Belgium.
From Belgium. Okay. What is on your mind, sir?
Yes, I want just to say to the panelists, we talk about Tchiroma, the other man who is talking about Tchiroma. I want to say, I want to just tell him that Tchiroma has failed Cameroonians. Cameroonians rallied behind Tchiroma, and he failed to defend a victory, of which people were ready to defend their victory, but he refused to fight. So let Tchiroma forget. Let him don't talk about Tchiroma anymore. So Tchiroma, the story for Tchiroma is gone. We just need a different politician in Cameroon that has courage. It's a courage politician that Cameroon needs, not any type of person like Tchiroma who is afraid.
They always appear to have courage until when things happen, isn't it?
Yeah, but the young mayor in Douala, that guy has courage.
Yeah, no, the guy has courage. Absolutely.
Yeah, that type of guy. If I be that guy, will create a political party. That guy, if he create a political party, Cameroon will ride behind him because he has courage. He doesn't afraid of death.
Right. Well, thank you for the call. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right. Yes, Mike, would you consider a referendum as the only means by which Southern Cameroonians endorse any form of federalism?
Yeah, thanks, Chris. I think, like I said before, the idea or the question about a referendum is not something that a single person or myself, I can tell you that, we are asking for a referendum. No, it's a matter of, it's a process. And the process involves what the people who are affected by this federalism we are talking about. The Cameroonians who think they need federalism, and which
No. You are generalizing it. I asked particularly about Southern Cameroonians, not Cameroonians.
Yes, Chris. I mean, I am not talking for Cameroon, for Southern Cameroonians alone. I am a Southern Cameroonian who thinks our problem, can be solved in a federal system. And if we were having this conversation, perhaps in a roundtable conversation, it would be a discussion to say these are our options. I would not be the one to tell Cameroonians that.
Well, it appears, running around the question, it was a simple question. Would Federalists suggest that the route to a federal Cameroon of any form should be through a referendum? It's a simple yes or no question. No, it's not you to decide.
Chris, it's not a simple yes or no question because it's not me. It's not me as an individual.
So why not just say, yeah, I think it's a good idea? Because we don't want a lot of people to tell anybody what form of state they should have. They cannot tell us what form of state we should have. That is the point that Dennis was making, that they are not in a position to tell us who we are because we both came together as sovereign states. But hold on there. Let me get this caller, please. Hold on. Hello.
Yes. Hello.
Hello. I can hear you. Where are you calling from?
Yes, I'm calling from Germany, and calling out to ask specifically a question, but also just to comment on the topic of discussion.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that I will try to take you back to the German colony Cameroon. Okay, because for me, the name Ambazonia identifies us as a people and as a nation, and the geographical definition of that territory is well defined. And the name Cameroon and South Cameroon, we should do our best, possible best, to distance ourselves even from that name. And because when you make yourself too similar to your colonial master, they will come now and say, we are all Cameroonians. It's difficult for you to explain to an Englishman, I'm Southern Cameroonian, that is a La Republique to Cameroonian. You understand?
Yeah.
And changing the name of a country, Burkina Faso, it was Upper Volta. It was changed overnight. There was no referendum. There was no parliamentary debate. It was changed. Mobutu came. He changed from Congo to Zaire, and from Zaire it went back to Congo. So we should not allow our nationality, our identity to be confused with this thing of names. You can change the name of your country, even your personal name at any time. Now, when the Germans, when the French, they took over part of German Cameroon, they were very quick to change some to Congo, change some to Gabon, change some to Chad, part of those territories, Central African Republic, distancing themselves away from that name, Cameroon. That's why today a La Republique guy will not get around and say, oh, we are all Cameroonians, we are all Cameroonians. No. The name of our country used to be Southern Cameroons, but we are Ambazonians now. We are not a movement as one comrade there saying the panel. We are not. We are Ambazonians. And so they have all the things that the Federalists are doing is wishful thinking. Because we are a colony of La Republique du Cameroon. They have military bases in Bamenda. The airport is an air base. Your seaports are all closed. Everything that makes you a state has been taken, and you are dependent and exploited. So we are a colony.
Yeah.
So if they are interested in the politics of internal politics of Cameroon, they can fight for Cameroon. But what irritates me about the Federalists is that they are not even fighting for the federation, and Cameroon is not even prepared to even listen to a federation with Ambazonia. It's a colony conquered, exploited, used as they want, appoint and dismiss as they want. So it's not like by wishing for a federation, it will be given to them at any point.
All right.
Anyway, so the point I really want to emphasize, Comrade Chris, the name Ambazonia, we should love that name. When you even call the name of your country, even the Federalists, they tremble. All of them in their panel, they will not even call the name Ambazonia. You know why? Because they don't feel part of Ambazonia. They are Cameroonians. And Germany has Anglophones. Nigeria has Francophones. Congo has Anglophones. So we should not allow ourselves in that confusion. We are Ambazonians.
All right. All right. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the call. Appreciate it. Well, to me, the name really doesn't matter for as long as I'm a free person, because you have Southern Sudan, right? You have Sudan, Southern Sudan, North, South Korea, North, South Carolinas, and so on. Yes, Dennis?
Because today, when you speak to a foreigner and you say you are Southern Cameroon, he has concluded that you come from the south of La République du Cameroon. No matter how much you try to explain, you're wasting your time. He will not understand. That is why I've argued that we should retain the name Ambazonia and completely remove the element of Cameroon from our identity. This is how the confusion started. If you know the history of the Southern Cameroon, you know that in Nigeria, they were calling us Cameroonians and we're accepting. Look at all our political parties during that period. They all had the element of Cameroon in it. This was mental confusion, which has led us to this war. And people are here still talking about aligned to people who have treated them like animals since 1961. It is unbelievable, Comrade Chris. It's unbelievable. It's unbelievable. But that's just how humans are, So, some people will never fight for their rights.
All right. I give for Mr. Eto'o and Mike the last word, 50 seconds. Let's round it up each. Hold on, Mike. Hold on, Mr. Eto'o. I think you are muted here. Go on, please.
Yes, we cannot be lying to ourselves because we want to create a name. History stands, and what we can represent ourselves better for the international community to understand us has to do with a historical argument. And the only thing that's recognized for that historical argument is Southern Cameroon. It's not Ambazonia. It's after you go through a decolonization process, and should you have it and win it now like your own country, then you create a new name. The process, when there's been mistakes with the problem is this: we don't accept when we make mistakes. When you make a mistake and you cannot move forward, you have to, modernize. You have to fix something and then move forward. Because the thing is, we are not really. They are not really going to be heard seriously in any forum with the name Ambazonia. But when you talk about Southern Cameroon, then you can start drawing history. You bring the map. You bring this and that. After you bring
Mr. Eto'o, if we were just calling it Southern Cameroons, let's fight for the independence of the Southern Cameroons, would you identify with the cause?
Well, the thing is, I'll be looking at it as liberation of Southern Cameroon.
Yeah? What's the difference?
Liberation of Southern Cameroon. Yeah, it's a difference because we can be. I want to liberate Southern Cameroon.
You don't want to camouflage and stay somewhere on the federal side.
No, yes, by federation, because that's the right side of history. As a federal state, that's how we came together. As a federal state, there was no union. Actually, if you have to go into real facts. But then we came together as federation. That's the history. And now we are fighting for liberation. If it goes federation, fine. If maybe somehow by the hand of God it goes the way of the Ambazonia movement, not a country, it's a movement, then that's history playing out. That's action playing out. So I keep on saying that it's different voices.
Somebody is asking the question, what makes these federalists think that if we get back into any kind of federation, that La République du Cameroon would still not want to assimilate us and see us as inferior?
The situation is different now. You see, the action has been different.
Chris, can I come in?
Let Eto'o round up and then Mike come in.
Yeah, Comrade Chris, the situation is different. You have taken actions there, everyone is taking action there, and it's going to be different. It's not the old kind of politics. We're in a new kind of politics where people are so aware. There is a social media, so it's not going to be. It's not going to be business as usual. You know, we are all alert, and that's why we are engaged, doing what we are doing. All of us, you from your side, Eric from his side, Chairman Taki from his side. Yeah, I'll leave it up to Taki to move forward.
Mr. Eto'o, before you go, you know, it's important that I ask this question. You are the son of former Justice Minister Benjamin Eto'o. He served that country as Justice Minister for quite a long time, growing up as a primary school, secondary school student who kept reading in civics. Who is the Minister of Justice? Benjamin Eto'o. Let me ask you, and I remember he wrote a book, I think that was after retirement, that was probably in the mid or early 90s, lamenting the loss of the federal state. For all this time that the war has been going on, please tell us, what is your father thinking about the state of the southern Cameroons?
I would want to think that he's still thinking that the federation system should come back. I want to think that way. But then I also want to think that when it comes to this side of, you know, having independence in this kind of a form that we're doing, I want to think that he does not agree with that. That's what I want to think. But when it comes to federation, I think he has an understanding. Hello?
Go on, I can hear you. Go on.
Yeah. So I think he would represent federation. He would act for it. I think so, but he would not act for Ambazonia because, first of all, the whole idea of Ambazonia was just something. It was just a hijacked process that led us into what it led into, and we are now having to grapple with the confusing situation. But then our activism
when you say the whole idea of Ambazonia was hijacked, don't you realize even up to today that the overwhelming majority of Southern Cameroonians, Ambazonians, support the cause?
Actually, when I say whether they support the cause, that we don't know what the state is now because these are very troubled people. But then I think they would prefer to go and vote for something like if they are offered the opportunity to vote for federation. Well, if they are offered the opportunity for a decolonization, because I cannot talk about independence because the reality is that independence was granted, but there was a failed decolonization process, you know. So a decolonization process can always be revisited, and I wonder if my take is that if we are revisiting a decolonization process, we should be talking of restoration of a genuine federated state where the people of Southern Cameroon have their liberties to run their affairs as well, but within Cameroon.
I will agree with you federalists on the federal route if you guys agree that it should come by way of a referendum.
Well, like Chairman Taki said, you know, we are not those to actually decide, but that's a wish, of course, because it will be genuine and there will be general participation.
Because look at it this way, gentlemen. Look at it this way. You put a question to the Southern Cameroonian people and say, do you want to stay in a federated country as in 1961, or you just want your own country? It's simply the easiest way to resolve this conflict, isn't it? And before you ask that question, you would have defined exactly what form of federation if it is not going back to 1961. It's the simplest way to resolve this. And I really thought this is how federalists should be fighting and saying, give us a referendum. Let's solve this thing in the simplest way without arms.
Yes, but without putting the whole idea of that, either a federation or we become an independent state, because the other party does not want to release us, and if that other party does not want to release us, and
that's why we have arms.
But we are not getting to anywhere. And when we are here in the diaspora, right? The right way to fight is not by using these methods that we are using, but the methods we use impact. But then people who have to really, but you have to go to ground zero on the territory, because we are warriors we are online warriors, But then the real game is down there, and the people can't pull it. And the whole process has been so corrupted. So the thing is, we have to rethink again.
Well, we can't take that from you because you were not involved in it in the first place. So to say that it has been corrupted is an overstatement. But it seems like Dennis and Mike still want to say something before we round up.
Yes, I think I just wanted to say this, Chris. We as a people, the people of former Southern Cameroons, we have gone through immensely tough time, and in order to be relevant in any system, in any, I would say, civilized community, you have to have an argument in such a way that that argument is palatable, is arguable. And that argument is that which you can challenge your opponent in a way that they don't feel intimidated, civilized. And what the regime did was that they chose to intimidate. We shouldn't copy that. Federalism, which is part of what we stand for, including myself, who is from the former Southern Cameroons, it's a very civilized way of reasoning our history and the contemporary nature of the country. You asked me before that things would be different had we started by saying, oh, there will be a referendum. Chris, I am not the one to make such decisions. However, if the people say, oh, okay, fine, let's talk federation and let's start with a referendum, then myself, even if I were to think any other way, it is about the people.
All right.
Our people, the people of former Southern Cameroons, have the very, very bright position to make a case, even right now, to make a case and say, fine, the idea about federalism sounds reasonable, but let's talk. That way, whoever is coming, because I don't really feel comfortable when somebody says, we ask them to give us federation, or will they accept to give us federation? We are already making ourselves the underdogs here. We are already putting ourselves in a disadvantaged position.
All right. Hold on there. Let's get this caller and call it a night. The time is not on our side. Hello.
Yes, please. This is Martengo.
Okay, Martengo. Calling from is it Pennsylvania or Delaware?
The state of Pennsylvania.
The state of Pennsylvania. What is on your mind, ma'am?
Yes, please. I've been listening to this federalists, and the prescription that I have to give them is that they should emancipate themselves from mental slavery. We will have a La République, or we'll have a republic, but it's going to be the Republic of Ambazonia, not of Cameroon. Yeah, so I don't know what is making them think that another federation will make any difference. The Francophones are more than us, and they will always want to assimilate us. That's my train of thought. So please emancipate yourselves from mental slavery. If you want to be Cameroonians, it's okay. You will get a passport to be coming into Ambazonia. So don't worry about it. Yeah, you have a visa, get a passport, have a visa to come into Ambazonia. You can stay in La République. Thank you.
Thank you for the call. All right, all right. Then it's 50 seconds and let's call it a night, please. Oh, I think Dennis is frozen. Okay, Mike, please, 50 seconds, and let's call
yeah,
it.
I didn't. Yeah, so like I was saying, we let my brothers and sisters of the former Southern Cameroons get onto active political process in Cameroon. Let's not. I understand. Yes, maybe federalism did not work before, or whatever happened. That is history. We cannot completely forget about history, but we can use it positively. Okay. So as it stands right now, I do not think the whole idea about us talking about Ambazonia or no Ambazonia, that is not even a problem. We can call it any name that we want, but we need to engage in the political process. That would be via whoever is coming to power. And as we stand here today, we are saying that how the people in the former Southern Cameroons engage in a very positive manner. We all would have rallied behind Mr. Issa Tchiroma Bakare and be working hard.
Well, let's call it a night there, sir, because we have been engaged since 1961. You know that we have been engaged since 1961. My friend, Mr. Etua, is smiling because you know that is the truth. We engaged from 1961 up to today. We got nothing to show for it. So, listen, we're not going to find a solution to this debate today. We are all watching and trying to observe what transpires in La République du Cameroon. If whatever happens there brings a solution to the conflict in Ambazonia, so be it. We'll all open our arms and welcome it. I want to go home, ladies and gentlemen. I want to go and visit. I have been out of Cameroon for, I think, over 30 years. And I really like to go back and visit and celebrate this new liberation. So let's leave it here when we, let's leave it here and observe what transpires. If Biya leaves, if Biya doesn't leave, who becomes vice president and who becomes president. I want to thank you all for joining me on the show tonight. You have a great night, sirs.
Thank you, Chris.
Thank you, Comrade Chris, for the brilliant show you always put up. Thank you.
Thank you, Mike. I look forward to having you back.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I think we are going to call it a night here. Looking forward to be back here on the Monday with another exciting broadcast. Until then, I remain yours truly, Chris Anu. Stay glued to ABS every time we are live. Good night.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before.
Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
Our next session begins July 24th. Seating is limited.
To enroll, text AI to 346-271-0711 or visit certifiedaiacademy.com.
Have you noticed? The world is changing faster than ever before.
Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be
You are good, Papa.
noticed, the world is changing faster than ever before.
Artificial intelligence is transforming workplaces, creating new opportunities, and reshaping entire industries.
The question is no longer whether AI will impact your career. The question is, will you be ready? At Certified AI Academy, we're helping ordinary people gain extraordinary skills in just 8 weeks.
Unlike many programs that leave you alone with recorded videos, our classes are taught live by experienced instructors.
You will learn practical AI skills you can immediately apply at work, in business, or to launch a new career.
And we don't stop at training. We help with resume development, job search support, and connecting graduates with opportunities.
Many AI jobs today can be performed remotely from anywhere in the world.
Our next session begins July 24th. Seating is limited.
To enroll, text AI to 346-271-0711 or visit certifiedaiacademy.com.
Have you noticed the